Welcome to our quick breakdown of a total classic, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. We're going to distill this whole book down to one core idea that could seriously change how you look at success.
It's a question we've all asked ourselves at some point, right? Is it just raw talent, dumb luck, having all the right resources? Well, according to David Schwartz, the answer is way simpler and a lot more in our control than we think.
And boom, there it is. That's the central idea of the entire book. The size of your success, it's pretty much determined by the size of your thinking. It's not about what you have, it's all about how you think.
Okay, so if thinking big is the secret sauce, why do so many of us get stuck in that small thinking mindset? Well, the book argues it's often because of the world we're living in.
This is such a powerful idea, because think about it. Our environment kind of conditions us for mediocrity. How many times have you heard stuff like, oh, be realistic, or that's way too risky? It creates this nasty feedback loop where we think small, we get small results, and then we convince ourselves that's all we're capable of. So, the big question is, how do you break out of that trap? Well, Schwartz gives us a really simple, powerful formula, and it all kicks off with one fundamental ingredient. And this right here, this is the engine of achievement. It all begins with belief. And I don't mean just wishing for something. I mean a deep down conviction that you can and you will succeed. That belief, that's the spark that ignites the engine and forces you to take action. And you've got to understand, this is a huge distinction. Wishing is passive. It's kind of just sitting back and hoping things work out. Believing, on the other hand, is active. It's that inner certainty that makes you go out there, learn from people who've done it, and just hustle until your goal becomes a reality. Of course, even when you have that belief, there are a couple of major villains that stand in our way. Schwartz gives them these really memorable names and, more importantly, tells us exactly how to beat them. First up, we've got what he calls excusitis. I love that name. It's basically the failure disease. Schwartz says that the more successful someone is, the fewer excuses they make. It's a problem that needs a cure, and fast. So the book breaks down the four most common types, right? You've got excuses about your health, how smart you are, your age, or just plain old bad luck. The cure for all of them is to just reframe how you think. You have to realize that your attitude and your actions will always beat these so-called limitations. Okay, and that second inner villain, it's even bigger. It's fear. It's the number one thing that stops people dead in their tracks and keeps them from even taking that first step. But here's the thing, there's a secret weapon against it. Fear gets stronger when you do nothing. The longer you wait, the bigger and scarier it gets. The only cure for fear is action. The second you start moving, your confidence starts to build up and that fear starts to shrink. It's that simple. All right, so how do we actually do this? The book is just packed with practical advice. So let's do a quick fire round of real things you can start doing today to build that big thinking mindset. First up, how to literally act confident. See, the idea here is that motion creates emotion. You don't wait to feel confident. You do these things to start feeling confident. Sit in the front, look people in the eye, walk with a purpose, speak up, and smile. It sounds simple, but man, it's so effective. And second, you've got to build an environment that pulls you up, not pushes you down. You really do become who you surround yourself with. So invest in yourself. Find mentors who are already where you want to be. Hang out with positive people. And just cut out the toxic gossip. Treat yourself like a first-class person. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most important one. All the positive thinking and confidence building in the world is totally useless without this one last step. Because at the end of the day, this is what separates people. You can have the biggest dreams, the most amazing ideas, but success belongs to the people who actually execute. It's all about building the habit of taking action, of turning your thoughts into real results. Don't wait for the perfect time, just start now. So look, the book lays out a super clear path. It all starts with your thinking, no doubt. But the real magic, the real power, that's in the doing. So the only question left for you is, what are you going to do now?